May I request everyone to switch off the cell phones, or at least put them on the silent mode? So immediately after the inauguration ceremony here, we'll take you to the inauguration of exhibition, which is in the multi-purpose convention hall just downstairs. We also have parallel technical sessions which will be running after the inauguration session in the other adjacent halls, Agni, Akash, Prithvi. We have these halls where we have different presentations, technical sessions happening after the inauguration. Good morning once again, and a very warm welcome to all of you all on the India Construction Meet and the Vishwakarma Award. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has defined the way forward to the year 2047. For any nation to develop consistently, infrastructure development and construction are essential. To quote an ancient proverb, in the kingdom where the sounds of hammers and chisels are pervasive, prosperity is bound to increase. The guiding principle is ancient. Populations have increased manifold. However, the way forward will have to change. The limits to the availability of resources in our planet are being stretched, which makes movement towards a circular economy inevitable. This is reflected in the socio-economic systems of older times, not only in India, but also other cultures where recycling was an inevitable and essential part of life. The improvement in health and well-being, efficiency in food growth, preservation and processing of higher economic returns to farmers are being taken up on a priority basis. Employment issues are being tackled on a macro basis by massive support to the MSME sector, startup, and the ventures. In our quest to promote the best practices and emerging technologies for the benefit of construction industry, we bring to you the India Construction Meet 2023, a conglomeration of like-minded professionals that will discuss, deliberate, and showcase their best practices and technologies that will define the way forward for the Indian construction industry. Please join me in welcoming all the distinguished dignitaries on the dais as I call upon their names. May I request Dr. P.S. Rana, Chairman of CIDC, to join us on the stage, please. Dr. Udesh Kohli, Chairman Emeritus, CIDC. Dr. B.D. Mundra, Chairman Emeritus, Simplex Infrastructures Limited. Dr. Sudhendu Sinha, Advisor, Infrastructure, Connectivity and Electric Mobility at Niti Aayog, Government of India. Lieutenant General Arvind Walia, Military Engineer Services, Engineer-in-Chief. Shri R.K. Mathur, IAS, former Lieutenant Governor, Union Territory of Ladakh. May I also request to join with us on stage Mr. Shigeru Omori, GED, Rice, Japan. Dr. Jo Jin, Managing Director, IPUD, South Korea. Let's hear it once again for our distinguished dignitaries before we move further. You always begin with a small initiative, and you realize gradually what a bigger size of family you turn out to be. Look at the display here, the names and the distinguished organizations, government departments, and everybody else. This is the family size, and it is still increasing continuously. Let's hear it for our sponsors and the organizations who made it big time to have this happen today. Let's hear it once again. I now request our distinguished dignitaries to join us for the customary lighting of lamp ceremony. It's morning time. May I request all of you all to put in more energy while we clap? Thank you very much, sirs. I now request Dr. P.S. Rana, Chairman of CIDC, to give the welcome address to the audience.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have assembled here for the India Construction Meet 2023. And it is my proud privilege today to welcome Sri R.K. Mathur, our chief guest today. He is the former Lieutenant Governor of UT of Ladakh. Lieutenant General Arvind Walia, Engineer-in-Chief from the Army. Sri Sudhendu Sinha, Advisor from Niti Aayog. Dr. B.D. Mudra, who has been a pillar of CIDC from the first day CIDC was set up. Same Dr. B.D. Mundra and Udesh Kohli ji, both have been the real founders of CIDC. I welcome our friends from Asia Construct, Sri Singori Omori, from Japan, and Dr. Jo Jin Cheol from Korea. I also welcome all the sponsors, partners, co-organizers, and the exhibitors. Also those people who will be chairing different sessions, co-chairing, and the speakers. It is the large family, and even for the next 3 days, we will be having parallel sessions in 3 different halls. Side by side, we will also be celebrating our 14th Vishwakarma Award functions, and also a parallel functioning will be of Asia Construct. So it is a multi-factual, multi-activity get-together. And apart from the exhibition, after this, we will be going then opening of the exhibition. So I'm very confident that over the next 3 days, we will have very fruitful discussions and deliberations on different topics. And all our deliberations, our conclusions will be useful for the industry, or our stakeholders for that. Particularly, I will congratulate all the awardees of the Vishwakarma Award. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. P.S. Rana, for the welcome address. May I now request Dr. Udesh Kohli, Chairman Emeritus CIDC, to address the audience, please.
Dignitaries on the dais, distinguished participants, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a very important occasion when we are having this conference as well as the Vishwakarma Awards. CIDC has completed, I would say just completed, 27 years of its existence, and I'm reminded when it was set up in 1996. jointly by the erstwhile Planning Commission, now succeeded by Niti Aayog, jointly with the construction industry, the major public sector enterprises, government ministries, private sector enterprises, and institutions. It was a unique experiment at that time. As I said, worked out to be a very important organization working for the development of the construction industry. I must say the CIDC has been undertaking several projects and activities and training and whatnot under the able leadership of Dr. P.S. Rana, the chairman, and Dr. P.R. Saroop, Director General, who has been steering it right from beginning, from '96. At the present moment, when the government is giving a lot of emphasis on economic development and rather faster economic growth, obviously construction sector plays a very, very important role. In fact, a lot of growth depends on how fast the construction is undertaken, how the projects are conceived and implemented within time and within cost, and that is how the economy will grow. So in that context, I wish CIDC a major role in this effort and a lot more activities in the coming years so that it can achieve the objectives which are set by the Prime Minister before the nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Udesh Kohli. I now request Dr. B.D. Mundra, Chairman Emeritus Simplex Infrastructure Limited, to address the audience. Dr. Mundra, please.
Honored dignitaries on the dais and our guests, the sponsors, and many young students who are here. It's a proud moment for CIDC. A small sapling which was planted in 1996. I happened to be there. And as Dr. Udesh Kohli pointed out that CIDC has, in last 26 years, has progressed quite a lot. They have done a lot of work, particularly with untiring effort of Dr. P.R. Saroop and Dr. Rana, and many others joined in this. Be it training and development of workers, supervisors, engineers, or advising the government on various issues, just how to do dispute resolution. So there are a lot of things CIDC has done. Dr. Kohli has rightly pointed out that country is progressing very fast and in a big way. So the challenges are also, with time changing, are different. And I feel our friends from other countries, from Korea and Japan, and they will also realize it's becoming a different world. So I find that whilst there is a lot of input by way of work, by way of money, by way of technology, but there is a symptom also of forces of disintegration. It's natural. When you put more energy into a system, it tends to disintegrate. So, we have to put in a structure properly, good structure, and that we have to do for our society. Construction industry is biggest employer in the country after agriculture. Our responsibility is more. We have to give more technologies. We have to give modern technologies. We have to give better training to our boys. But at the same time, we have to keep it in mind that society should develop on the right path. The forces of disintegration or disruption, those are also kept under control. New changes which are coming, I think CIDC will surely work on that and adopt that, particularly in the field of artificial intelligence. They have started doing work on your different technologies, new materials. So depending on the demand of the country, I'm sure CIDC will come up. We have so far done our bit. We will try to give as much support as possible. But young generation has to give support to the efforts of Dr. Swaroop and others. And I am very thankful on behalf of CIDC to all the sponsors and all the people who have come here and encouraged us. I hope you will do enjoy the functions of 3 days, and we will certainly hear new things, new ideas, and for better coordination and understanding each other. Thank you very much. I remain.
Thank you very much, sir. I now request Dr. Sudhendu Sinha, Advisor, Infrastructure Connectivity and Electric Mobility at Niti Aayog, Government of India, to address the audience.
Thank you. To all the distinguished dignitaries on the dais and to each one of you, so eclectic, so enlightened. And I'm sure that the crowd is, majorly involved in the construction activity. And construction itself is a very, very positive concept. It means that you are dreaming something new. And as I believe that if you are into construction, it is not like a sidewalk. You have to be completely into it. It grows on you every time you are involved. If you are making a house, you are making a road, whichever construction thing you are going ahead with, you have to be completely into it. That is the most interesting part of construction. As I said, that it grows on you. You keep on growing, and along with that, the construction activity grows on. So, at the onset, let me congratulate CIDC, the core group, and all the mentors, all the supporters who have helped in organizing this particular summit. And that is something, I was told that in post-COVID period of this scale, this is for the first time it is being held. Now, my association, I represent Niti Aayog, and Niti Aayog is, as I'm sure most of you must be knowing, this institution has been created, and it works primarily directly under the Prime Minister with 3 major functions. Rather, we think that we have 3 major roles to play. One is that we are a think tank. So as a think tank, you have to keep on, or you have to be in that thinking mode trying to, look ahead at what new things are going around in the country. That is the first thing. Internationally also, globally, what are the new things that is going around? And the second is that we do engage ourselves with the states and try to help in the implementation of policies, how to make them, how can there be a better implementation of a policy. That is the second activity. And the third is we serve as a kind of brain trust to the Prime Minister, because somebody should trigger that this is a new thing that should be taken forward for country's welfare. And then, after discussion and after deliberations, it can be frozen. So this is the role of Niti. I must thank CIDC official, Mr. Swaroop. One day he came to my room and said that, okay, CIDC belongs to you. Now that was a news to me, because, I didn't know that CIDC was created by a formal order of Planning Commission, and it was supported. But so I immediately dusted off all the files, went through it, and to find that exactly it is. CIDC is one of the most prominent institutions that is there with Niti, and we must try to make it all the more, strong, powerful, take it forward. So thanks to Mr. Swaroop for getting me involved into it. And the more and more granular information I was having of CIDC, the more and more appreciation I was, gradually having for this particular institution, the work that they have been doing in last 27 odd years. So if I see, then your work has been primarily in three sectors. One is that you have been into skilling, and then you have been into, scripting codes and manuals and like guidelines and rules. So this kind of scripting has been there. And finally, you are into standardization. So these three S has been there. So skilling, scripting, and standardization formation. This is where the CIDC has been primarily working. Let me try to just think through that what could be the other areas in the new paradigm of the country that we are going ahead with, where CIDC can think of creating its own role. So maybe a few more essays. First is, can CIDC strengthen its role in the entire concept of Viksit Bharat? We have got a vision that by 2047 we should be Shrestha Bharat, we should be #1 in the world. This is an amazing concept, because the very fact to think, pronounce, and say it on the top of your voice, that itself calls for a lot of guts. Till maybe 10, 15 years back, it was very difficult for us to say that. But today we do claim that we want to be like that. Can CIDC think of strengthening its role in this concept of Viksit Bharat? Second is, can it be developing itself, how to strengthen itself into a bank of wisdom? It has got very, very experienced people as an officials, as a partners, as the members. Can it be serving as a bank of wisdom, so that whenever there is some issue, the government could touch base with CIDC just to find out that how exactly what could be the way forward, what could be the solution. So that is the second area which I think as of now. Third is, of course, for the first time realization has come that if the country has to move forward, states can't be left behind. Because after all, states are the players. It's like a cricket match. Every player has to contribute. And today the best thing is that regardless of political affiliations, all the states are synergized. That is why you see Uttar Pradesh says that I will bring $1 trillion. Tamil Nadu says I'll bring another $1 trillion. And that is how, they want to create their aggregated efforts, through that create what we want to be a Shrestha Bharat, a Viksit Bharat. So can CIDC think of strengthening partnership with the states? That is the third one. And of course, in the present day, you cannot function as an independent, as a unique, as a isolated, standalone institution. That is not an age. It is an age where you have to keep on networking. That is a very, very significant thing. You know, at Niti also our function is that we keep on talking to different countries at a time. Because suppose I'm in the area of electric mobility, then I move out and touch base with the best of the institutions in the world, whether it is UC or University of California, it is MIT, or any of the types. So among the states, so for the networking purpose, can it strengthen its networking with the research organizations, institutions, universities? Can CIDC do something in that area? And finally, you know, the core proposition, the core strength of CIDC, you know, the experience pool, as I mentioned in the beginning, can it also strengthen its own in-house capability? So maybe that if we have to think through on these 4 or 5 issues, and I'm sure that in the next 3 days when we'll be deliberating on formal and informal atmosphere, I'm sure by the time we conclude, we can come out with some sort of, this declaration, some sort of PUSA or some sort of PUSA declaration, or it could be whatever name you find it to be fit, where you can make a specific, you can work out that, okay, this is the area out of these 5, 6 areas in which we can contribute more meaningfully, more significantly. So maybe a couple of suggestions. We can think of, this is a central conference that we are organizing. Can we have some sort of outreach or sensitizing the states, and can we think of creating some sort of, say, regional conference, organizing regional conferences? And of course, today, India, if you see the budget document, the very first page says that it is a bright star on the international arena. So, in the nearby geography, can we think of creating some sort of regional, relationship with the nearby neighborhood, nearby states, and think of taking our agenda forward, our contributions in the area of construction forward? So these are some of the thoughts that I am just bouncing before you so that we take it forward. And I'm sure I will be very happy if we come out with very, very positive suggestions, constructive suggestions, and I'm sure that would be the gain of this CIDC, so that we at Niti as well as CIDC, and we can take it forward. And I was just listening to one of the concepts where it was being said that why can't India have, let's say, 500,000 kind of ITIs in the country. And the way it was being said so nicely, that if in the construction paradigm, if only 15% are the supervisors and the top-end kind of, guides, and the below, the base is primarily 75 to 80% of them are real workers, what do we do to improve upon their skill sets? Because finally, after all, the bearing has to be, it has got a very, very positive, correct bearing on the quality of construction. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what my thoughts are at the beginning, and I do look forward that in the next 3 days we will enter into very constructive, think over it, and whatever new ideas are there, please get back to us. Thank you and best wishes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sinha. May I request Dr. Swaroop to join us here to say a few words to the audience. Dr. P.R. Swaroop, ladies and gentlemen, the Director General of CIDC.
Thank you so much, dignitaries on the dais, and all my friends who are participating. I just thought I'll introduce you to our oldest friends with whom we started networking in the international arena. And we have 2 dignitaries here, my friend from Research Institute of Construction Economy of Government of Japan. They represent Government of Japan. Please raise your hand, and sir. And then, of course, we have our friend, old friend from South Korea. These 2 have been able to make it. to a parallel event that we call as Asia Construct. The history of Asia Construct is that it is as old as CIDC. And matter of fact, it was so interesting that the commercial attaché of Japanese embassy, he landed in my office precisely on the third day when I was just getting my office cleaned. And all I had was a staff complement of about 2 persons. One of them was the sweeper, and the second one was basically the helper. The helper still continues. And I was cleaning up the office, and suddenly I find that here is this gentleman, properly attired, and he comes and introduces himself as the commercial counselor of Japanese embassy. And he posed 3 questions. He said that, I believe that you have been set up by the Planning Commission, and I want to have answers for 3 questions. I said, what are these 3 questions? First question was that how big is the construction industry in India? Second question was, what are the problems that industry faces? And the third question was, how are you going to be sorting them out? And believe you me, that was basically the beginning of many of my projects that basically took CIDC through the journey that you are all witness to. Japanese are famous for the understatements and the meaningful questions that they ask. They are very loaded questions. And when I started looking at the size of construction industry, suddenly I realized that none of the government data and figures available were in a position to give me the right estimate of size of construction industry. So that was the time when I took help of my friends from cement industry, because cement is the only item that is manufactured, recorded, and quantum of cement determines more or less the size of construction industry. And then came out the size of construction industry, which was astounding by that standard. In 1996, it was amounting to 125,000 crores of rupees. That was the kind of money that was going in. Then came out number of other discoveries, and that was how many people are working. Of course, there are standards, and one can always make out as to if you have to do this kind of work every year, how many people are needed. So that was basically the precursor. We became friends, and the next visit I had was when I was ready with my answers to him. He said that here is something called Asia Construct, and that's a conglomeration of all Asian countries' construction industry. Would you like to join? And we said, why not? And it is almost 27 years that we have been working together, living with Asia Construct. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here. You have done us a great honor. Thank you so much. Let me also say a few things about Mr. Sinha. There was an interlude actually in our connectivity with Niti Aayog. After the Planning Commission was taken over by Niti Aayog, the then advisor, who by statute is supposed to be on our Board of Governors, Advisor Transport, he was a gentleman with whom I had the privilege of working together and creating a set of common contract conditions. Unfortunately, during COVID, he passed away, and may God rest his soul in peace. Then there was an interlude, and then after that, I realized that the position has now been filled up, and here is this gentleman, Mr. Sinha, who is there. So the first thing I did was, I made my port of call to him, and then we sat down together, and since then we have been working. Believe you me, the whole concept of this particular event has come out from him. True to his role, Planning Commission and thereafter Niti Aayog has always been mentoring CIDC, and we are so obliged. We were expecting Honorable Prime Minister to be here today to bless us all. But as the luck would have it, and all of you are aware, that because of many of the parliamentary activities that he had, he could not make it. But I am very happy to inform you that Honorable Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs, he will be with us this evening at 5:30, and he will be basically filling in the shoes. And one thing which we have requested him is to distribute the awards for all the achievers. So be here till the end of the day. Welcome, Honorable Minister, and that is what I had to tell you. It has been wonderful. I am reserving my vote of thanks at the end after we have heard other dignitaries. Thank you so much. But meanwhile, once again, please convey our best wishes, and we are looking forward to work with RICE, with our Korean friends, with our Malaysian friends, with Singaporean friends, and with other countries in Southeast Asia and Asia also. So we'll have a leaders' meeting and we'll take certain crucial decisions there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saroop. I now request Lieutenant General Arvind Walia, ENC Military Engineer Services, to address the audience.
Distinguished guests, esteemed members of the Construction Council, ladies and gentlemen, and not to forget some very young faces which I see here, which I am told are students from various engineering colleges. Good morning to all of you. Taking a cue from my previous speakers, I do not plan to take any time more than what is allotted to me, and will therefore come straight to the point. Firstly, I wish to thank the CIDC for giving me this opportunity to be amongst the who's who of the industry and a forum to exchange ideas and views through this India Construction Meet 2023. However, I would like to suggest that the event should be called as Infrastructure Development Meet rather than Construction Meet. Construction is a subset of infrastructure development, which includes all the systems, devices, and networks that support the construction activities. Some may view it as mere semantics, but I think it is very important for us to change our outlook towards the infrastructure development. Secondly, as India today has given a major push for infrastructure development, we have to keep in mind that this growth is seen together with sustainability. While there are some local initiatives in this regard, including research or advocacy projects, there is no coordinated approach to address the wider agenda of sustainability in construction. I am certain that CIDC can lead the way in this regard. Thirdly, the construction industry is continuously evolving with new age technology and materials, which are changing the whole process of engineering, planning, design, and execution of projects. With this, the construction industry is almost under a moral obligation to transform itself by reducing the cost of construction and making buildings which are more economically efficient. Towards this end, I wish to highlight that the Military Engineering Service, which is one of the oldest and largest construction agency in the country, which undertakes highly specialized and technical projects such as airfields, marine works, renewable energy projects, besides routine habitat construction for the three services of Army, Air Force, Navy, in addition to Coast Guard, DRDO, and many other government departments, and whose area of operations range from high altitude areas of Leh Ladakh to the remote islands of Andaman and Nicobar, and from the westernmost part of Rann to the easternmost part of Arunachal Pradesh. This Military Engineering Service has aligned and committed itself towards building infrastructure that is sustainable with emphasis on economic, social, and environmental factors. The MES is not only committed towards adopting newer construction technologies, but is also experimenting with contemporary contract management practices such as EPC and QCBS. There has also been a major push towards utilizing the digital technology for project monitoring, product approvals, and contractor registration processes, bringing in more transparency and efficiency in the system. I sense a great opportunity in all of the above for partnering with CIDC, which acts as a bridge between the industry and the policymakers. In the end, I wish to thank CIDC once again for striving to solve issues related to industry, including self-regulatory norms in terms of quality, safety, and productivity. I am sanguine that this well-organized India Construction Meet will provide useful inputs for the entire infrastructure development sector towards policy formulation and implementation. And I would also like to congratulate all the award winners of the Vishwakarma Awards from various sectors. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant General Walia. I now request Shri R.K. Mathur, IAS, and former Lieutenant Governor, Union Territory of Ladakh, to address the audience, please. तालियों में कंजूसी ना करें, please.
A very good morning to all of you. All the distinguished guests on the dais, let me have the privilege of naming them. General Walia, Dr. Sinha, Dr. Mundra, Dr. Udesh Kohli, Dr. Rana, from Japan, Mr. Omori, from South Korea, Dr. Jo Jin, and of course, the Director General of the CIDC, Dr. Priyaranjan Sud. Let me begin by thanking CIDC for inviting me to be present here, to be able to talk to you. When the invitation came, the basic question in my mind was that what qualifies me to speak here? I'm not a construction industry man, but definitely all my life, one has been in touch, interacting with the industry in one capacity or the other. And therefore, in a very indirect way, maybe there are few things which one would like to mention here. Sorry. Firstly, let me talk of the figures which Dr. Priyaranjan mentioned. And I decided to look at the internet and see that what is the construction industry figures in the country. And these are not authentic figures, but this is what some private data agencies have given. And they seem to say that the Indian construction industry is almost $600 billion US dollars. They seem to say that it would have a growth of almost 6% every year. They seem to say that almost 51 million people in the country are associated with it. Now, this just shows that, let me add, that it also shows that it is among the top 5 construction industries in the world and growing, set to become 3rd largest construction industry in the world. And therefore, what we have here in this conference hall is a representation of literally 5th largest to become 3rd largest industry in the world. This is what is represented here in this room. We have now entered, as our Honorable Prime Minister mentioned, the Amrit Kal. Amrit Kal is the 25 years to 2047 when we complete 100 years of our independence. This is the period when India is slated to grow. It is expected to grow at a very fast pace. If you look at the budget this year, in the capital expenditure side, an investment of almost $10 billion has been visualized. It just shows that today the entire country is in the cusp of growth. This is an industry which is going to grow and grow very fast. And therefore, a conference of this type, which takes an annual stock taking, which recognizes and awards in terms of Vishwakarma Awards, the best performers in the country, I think it is very welcome. And to boot it, to make it even better, we have the Asian industry experience in terms of South Korea and Japan present here, which could really help us in shaping the future of the construction industry here. From my personal experience, I would say that the problems that I have seen with the construction industry, availability of skilled manpower, it's a major issue. That is something which the construction industry and the council has to work on. The second area, I would say, is the use of technology. The best of the people in the country are using perhaps high levels of technology. But what is the average level of technology usage in the country? I think it is extremely poor. This needs to change very dramatically. And therefore, dissemination of even the existing technologies to the entire country seems to be a must. I'm not talking of the new technologies which are coming into the country, into the world. Dr. Mundra mentioned artificial intelligence, but in addition to artificial intelligence, there are a whole lot of new technologies which are coming up. There are drones being used, there are modular constructions being done, the blockchain being used, the virtual augmented reality being used, 4D simulations being used, 3D printing being used, and so on and so forth. Now, these are the things which even our best industry partners have to learn to incorporate. Because ultimately, what matters for the country is how fast, how efficiently, and at the lowest possible cost am I able to add infrastructure, to add construction to this country. And for that, trained manpower and use of technology, including the frontier technologies, that seems a must. The last thing that I would say, that the biggest bottleneck that I have seen in the government is our lack of planning, lack of coordination with the construction industry. If I plan a project, it is not planned in its entirety, to the last detail. What one sees is that while the construction is on, somebody would come that add this, change this, do that. Now that is something which is really the enemy of good progress, of low costs. And therefore, I would say that a message from this conference has to be both to the government and to the construction industry that hard work, very detailed work, before the construction actually starts is a must. Unless this happens, I don't think the pace of construction can ever go up in the country. We have seen the example here that when national highways are being built, you find that earlier the speeds were so slow. Today, you have achieved even at one stage about 30 kilometers a day of national highways. How has that come about? This is only because of the synergy between the government and the construction industry. Now, this is something which I treat as extremely important. Not only a lot of communication between the industry and the government, a lot of joint planning, that is a must. And I think the government should also be working hard with the construction industry all the time, talking to them, understanding their problem, even helping them in building up their own strengths, in building up their own technologies. I'll give you one example because Ladakh is my recent experience. And therefore, I can say that while the rest of the country can use a particular type of technology, Ladakh, to my mind, needs a totally different type of technology, which the country doesn't seem to be using today. How can I make a black-topped road at, say, 18,000 feet height? How do I do welding at a temperature which is minus 30 degrees centigrade? It cannot be done. How do I do construction when 6 months either there is very heavy rain or there is very heavy snowfall, yet do I have the luxury of working only for 6 months in a year? And therefore, the change that is required, the introduction of new technologies that is required in the country, the entire Himalayan India needs a very different paradigm. And that is something on which I know that the military branches are already working there on these technologies, but that is something which is to be done not only by the armed forces, but also by the common man, because maybe half the construction in Himalayas is of the civilians. And therefore, everybody together has to introduce a whole set of new technologies for the Himalayan Indian. And you have to remember, it's a very large area of the country. Make no mistake. Your border with is almost 3,500 kilometers with China. About the hilly part of the border with Pakistan is another 2,000 kilometers. And therefore, the area that we are talking of, the lowest levels of infrastructure is there, where maximum growth is required. And yet you have no technology choices. You have a choice of working only for 6 months in a year. And therefore, that is a challenge for the country, that how do I introduce new technologies? And more so when today the government is spending money in those areas. And therefore, for our construction industry to go there and to perform in the interest of the country and, of course, for their own profits, I think this is a must. Now, these are some of the things which I thought I would share with you. I would like to thank once again CIDC for inviting me to be here and to put some of my thoughts before you. Let me wish the conference all the very great success. Let me wish the Vishwakarma Award winners, let me congratulate them in advance, and may you have very fruitful discussions during this conference. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir. All the efforts can not only be sustained, but also enhanced and accelerated when initiatives undertaken adopt the principle of inclusive development. Sabka Vikas is only possible if we have Sabka Saath and Sabka Prayas. We are going to witness the MOU signing ceremony with few major organizations here right in front of us. And the first one is with CSIR, Structural Engineering Research Center, Chennai. May I invite Dr. Amod Valli, Director, SERC, CSIR, on the stage, along with Dr. P.R. Swaroop, the Director General of CIDC. Thank you very much, Dr. Anandvalli. The second MOU which CIDC is signing, along with National Safety Council of India, NSC Mumbai. And may I request Mr. Gabane, the Director General NSC, to join us on stage, please. The next MOU is between CIDC and National Academy of Construction, Andhra Pradesh. And may I request Sri Dinesh Kumar, the Additional Director General of NAC, Andhra Pradesh, to join us on stage, please, along with Mr. Kiran, the Director of NAC, to join us again on the stage, please.
I promise that I will be explaining to you the significance of these MOCs that we have signed today. And this is keeping in view the kind of advice that we got from Niti Aayog, that we have to expand our ambit for that matter, the first MOU that we have signed is with the SERC, CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. The issue here is that construction industry, as we have been watching for last 30 years, has now aggregated the assets exceeding almost about 700 lakh crores of rupees in the country. May they be airports, may they be buildings, houses, whatever you can think of, roads or highways. One thing which is lacking very, very badly, and that is how to maintain, how to retrofit, and how to basically do the correct induction of materials, and especially construction chemicals. So we have an association called Construction Chemicals Manufacturer Association. They'll be coming here very soon now. And what we had agreed and decided that we are going to be creating a system by which the quality of materials that is being produced by many of the construction chemical manufacturers that can be ascertained. So there are going to be series of laboratories throughout the country, of course, including CSIR laboratories, who will be giving the kind of comfort of verification of the quality and performance of these products. That's one idea. And the second is that we need to spread many of the centers throughout the country, and that is where again we are using the vast network of technical institutions and colleges. And that is what is going to be the sequel of this particular MOC that we have signed. The second MOC that we have signed is of equally important issue, safety at construction sites and the practices. They have not been given much cognizance. And that is the reason why we thought that we should basically and formally enter into an association with the national body, and that is the Safety Council, National Safety Council, and that is why Dr. Gabane is here for that matter. And the third one that we have signed is with the National Academy of Construction of Hyderabad. After the bifurcation of original Andhra Pradesh, even the NAC, which was situated in Hyderabad as well as in the Telangana region, which Hyderabad representing Telangana region, of course, the rest of Hyderabad stayed there. So that's an academy that is into skill development, and we thought that in the state of Andhra Pradesh, we'll be working together and very intensively, and the third MOC is actually on account of those things. So there is a diversification that is going to be happening now, and we are going to be having our footprints in many other parts of the country as well. Thank you. And then the next event that you are going to witness soon is actually release of the codes on waterproofing. For many, many years now, until now, waterproofing, which is an important area, and usage of construction chemical, there are hardly any codes of practice. We had been interacting with Bureau of Indian Standards, and they had supported us, and of course the industry has supported us to create the first set of standards that are going to be unveiled by our VIPs who are sitting on the dais for that matter. I would request three gentlemen who had been responsible for creation of these codes. I'll call Mr. Sunny Surlakar. Mr. Sunny Surlakar, please come. Give a big hand. Mr. Himanshu Kapadia, the President of CCMA. And from Nina Waterproofing, I have another friend of mine. Can you also join? Nehul, Mr. Nehul? Nehul Parikh. Oh, you will represent him. All right, please come. Come. You have all contributed to preparation of these codes, and you are responsible for it. Please come. And Praveen, I think this is the time for us to bring the codes. Sure. And let our dignitaries open that.
May I request Chairman CIDC to unribbon. And ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it while we release these codes for waterproofing.
Well, we have just now received an information. There were a fourth MOU also that was to be signed today with Mrs. Bridge and Roof, which is a public sector undertaking with headquarters in Calcutta. And we will be also entering into an MOU, but that is going to happen now on 12th, because the chairman and managing director will only be able to come on 12th. But just for information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saroop, and the dignitaries on dais. I now request Dr. P.S. Rana, Chairman of CIDC, to give the memento to our distinguished dignitary, Dr. Shudhendu Sinha. Sir, I request you to give another memento to Lieutenant General Arvind Walia. So kindly present the memento to Shri R.K. Mathurji. Ladies and gentlemen, upon the recommendation of the Board of Governors of Construction Industry Development Council, the Partner in Progress Trophy for 2023 is hereby presented to RISE, Japan. Can I request Dr. P.S. Rana, Chairman CIDC, Dr. Uddesh Kohli, and Dr. B.D. Mundra to jointly give the Partners in Progress Trophy. So can I request all three of you to come on the front side of the stage? Dr. Kohli, Dr. Mundra, and Dr. Rana, please. We have one more Partner in Progress trophy, which goes to Dr. Jo Jin, MD, IPUD, KRIHS, South Korea. Thank you so much, sirs. I once again invite Dr. P.R. Swaroop, Director General CIDC, to give the vote of thanks to the audience, please.
Thank you so much. Bad throat. All I have to say, I thank all of you, my exhibitors, sponsors, and especially the dignitaries on the dais, and the participants, of course. We have many old memories that go, and especially thankful to Mr. R.K. Mathur, because during his tenure, first as the Vice Chairman of Tripura Planning Board, and then as Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, I had the privilege of contributing information of the state plans. I'm sure is being implemented now, and many of the things that were recommended there that are being followed up. Hope to look forward to have many such opportunities in future as well. So that is actually the kind of relationship that he has with the construction industry. Because when he took over the office of Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh and Vice Chairman of Tripura, he approached me and wanted me to be the member in both the planning boards. Thank you very much, Mr. Mathur, for being here with us today. I have to thank INSEE very especially for a wonderful thing that INSEE's branch has introduced. They have now made it mandatory to have at least 25% of the construction workers skill tested and certified. This is the second such effort that has been made by Central Public Works Department, who initiated this process. And many of you would be aware that almost on all the CPWD project sites, it is mandatory to engage at least 40% of the skilled certified construction workmen. And what it has done is given a huge, great stock of skilled trained persons. Of course, the journey is very long. We are talking about something like about 4.5 to 5 crore workers to be trained, and we're considering into attrition. Each year, basically, make sure that another fresh intake of about 1 crore persons is coming. So it's a huge task, and that is the reason why we have to network with premier organizations like National Academy of Construction so that we can reach out to other places also. Very soon, we shall also be talking and discussing with many of the states who are undergoing the progress, and I think Niti Aayog will be guiding us on that, and number of states will be identified where we can go. May they be Kashmir, and of course in northeastern sector. That is where we would like to go and spread our wings. So thank you, Mr. Sinha, for giving all the guidance, and it was wonderful. Today's event, of course, I always say that he holds 50% partnership. It is only because of him that we have been able to really set it up so nicely, starting from the concept itself. I go back to my old friends, members of Asia Construct. Thank you so much for having come all the way. I know there has been difficulties in obtaining the visa. Somehow that international travel these days have become a bit of a cumbersome thing, but I think they could still manage it, and that is what is creditable. So what we have now decided is to have basically the views of other members of Asia Construct. We have converted this program into hybrid mode, and those who could not make it, they will be joining on the web. It will be all recorded and put on the YouTube. Any one of you who might like to have a look at it later certainly can go and have a look at it and know about the other industries as well. How do I thank Dr. Kohli, Dr. Mundra, who's my mentor, and Dr. P.S. Rana? They had been nurturing this council. They had been basically the old guiding force, and it was under their guidance that I could do few things. Sir, if I had committed any mistakes or blunders, please forgive me, but I know that you will always stand by me. Thank you so much for being here. I thank my staff members who worked so hard, all my suppliers and service providers who have made this event so meaningful. Thank you so much for making it so wonderful. And all I can say is a big thank you to anyone and everyone who's joining hands here with me or who's likely to be joining hands. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Swaroop. Now we are going to witness the inauguration of the exhibition. And for that, I request Dr. Swaroop. Can I request Dr. Swaroop to lead our dignitaries on the dais towards the exhibition, please? And dignitaries of the dais may please join us for the inauguration ceremony of the exhibition, which is going to be done downstairs. Can I request our Senior Director, Ashutosh Bhardwaj, to lead the dignitaries of dais towards the exhibition inauguration? After the inauguration of exhibition, we'll have a small break for tea and coffee outside, and followed by this, we'll have multiple presentations, technical sessions running in the halls which are just adjacent to this hall. Kindly join us for the same. And this hall as well.
My request to each one of you is that while we are going along with the VIPs to the place, all of you are requested to go back to the exhibition area so that you can witness the inauguration and opening of the things. So you can all move out in an orderly manner and be there. Thank you.
All throughout the 3 days, the sponsor presentations, which are the technical presentations, will run in this hall. This is called the C. Subramaniam Hall. As you walk out, there are 2 halls, Akash and Prithvi. They will, for today and tomorrow, hold the different technical sessions like construction chemicals, Asia Construct, cement, steel. And on the 3rd day, all programs will be here. So please look at the giant board that has been put outside with each session details.